So today we'll be looking at the early life and the current story of Modern Warfare 3's Ivan Alexxeve, who was portrayed by Lev Gorn. Now, if you guys remember, he was shot in the beginning of Modern Warfare 3, but now he's alive once again because Activision brought him back for the Season 5 Warzone promotion. But before we get into that, I want to look into Ivan Alexxeve's story so we can better understand who he was and how he magically returned. Ivan was born sometime in the 1970s in Russia, and now not much is known about Ivan other than the fact that he joined the Russian military at some point during his life, and he would be there for a few years running operations, and he became quite skilled in many areas of combat. Ivan would dream of a greater Russia, and he wanted his country to be the most powerful and dominant in the world. During his time in the military, he saw terrible things, but he was determined to make the world follow orders, regardless of what it took to make them do that. And his perseverance and aggressiveness was noticed by his comrades. But that aggressiveness would eventually cause Ivan to leave the Russian ranks as he became disillusioned with them, thinking that his government had grown too weak to truly change the world. And Ivan would wander as a private contractor for a few years until he met some like-minded people in Andrei Nolan and eventually Vladimir Makarov, who dreamt big the same way that Ivan did. And Makarov would recruit others and they would form a group called the Inner Circle. This Inner Circle would be considered a terrorist organization, and they would plan their first big attack in 2019 when they blew up the Verdansk Stadium and the Verdansk Airport. During this operation, Makarov would be captured and Ivan alongside Nolan would escape, and the duo would eventually infiltrate the Konni group, which was a Russian PMC. Ivan would take the lead while Makarov was imprisoned, but they would still follow Makarov's orders from inside the Gulag. They would also use Makarov's personal financier to grow the Konni group into a formidable foe, and with Ivan's guidance on the field, they would make headlines and interfere with the West and Urzikstan for the following years. Eventually, however, in 2023, Makarov gave the clear to free him. And so Ivan came up with a plan to break into the Zordaya prison complex and free their leader once and for all. However, deep inside of his mind, Ivan had his doubts on whether Makarov could continue the fight and lead them going forward. Ivan felt that Makarov maybe was gone a little bit too long and that things had changed, but he was willing to give Makarov a shot. However, he would notice that Makarov and Nolan would speak sometimes after their private meetings during the years, and it gave Ivan a bad feeling, but he pushed that aside, and when the day eventually came to free him, they did. Ivan would lead the operation and Makarov would be finally free after 4 years in the Gulag. And during the exfil plan, Makarov decided to make a last-minute switch and head through another direction. Ivan did not like this, nor did he approve, and he tried to change back to go through the way that he had previously planned. This angered Vladimir, who immediately turned the elevator off and talked to Ivan. Ivan would feel disrespected in front of the man that he had led for many years now, but he knew Makarov was in charge and he needed to follow orders. After escaping the prison complex, Ivan noticed that Makarov and Nolan started being buddy-buddy with each other, which again caused him an uneasy feeling. And after arriving back at one of their headquarters, Ivan would be disciplined in front of the whole team.
Иван, из-за того, что ты отверг мой план, мы потеряли драгоценное время. Время решает все.
Командир, я принял правильное решение.
Каждый несет ответственность за свои ошибки.
And just like that, Ivan Alexxeve would be killed. Or so you thought. Got him! Now, the main point of this video is the fact that in Season 5 of Warzone, we have Ivan Alexxeve alive and kicking in promotion art, and I had not seen him because I was so concentrated on Valeria and I did not pay attention to the two characters behind her. It wasn't until I was scrolling on Twitter that I saw this post. And I said, wait a minute. So I went back to Call of Duty's homepage and I found the picture of Ivan Alexxeve, and he has a new haircut, like he's bald, he has a big beard. To me, this is bullshit because he is once again wearing the Konni uniform, and they even gave him the headshot wound where he was supposedly shot at, right on top of his ear on the left-hand side, I believe. So I'll tell you right now that he is definitely not alive in any way, shape, or form in the canon storyline for Modern Warfare. It just cannot be true, and if it is, somehow they would just be testing our intelligence. Absolutely not. Ivan is not alive in the canon storyline of Modern Warfare. We know that they did this last season with Soap, but it was apparently a mission that took place in 2023, so that's kind of how they brought him back. And the biggest difference here between Soap and Ivan Alexxeve is that Ivan has the headshot wound, indicating that he's basically alive after the events of Modern Warfare 3. But I think that besides the fact that we actually clearly saw him die and get shot right in the head by Nolan, I don't think that Ivan, had he really survived, would ever, number one, be okay with joining Konni again, and number two, he would absolutely not be under the command of Andrei Nolan, who was the man that shot him and took his number 2 position in the PMC. I think Ivan was way too prideful for that and too much of a real killer to do that. And I think that Activision continues to do this maybe to poke fun at us because they have done this with Alex and Commander Graves, and they know how we react to it. And they put out these characters just for the hell of it. Because, in my opinion, instead of truly moving the story forward from the campaigns, they're just doing, I guess, dumb shit and wasting characters. Why not give us a character that's still alive and that could have a purpose in the overall storyline of Modern Warfare? We don't really want characters that are clearly dead, at least from my point of view. Now, if Ivan somehow was really alive, I hope that he bitch slaps Nolan, kills him, and then bitch slaps Makarov and kills him as well, just for being rats and turning on him. This has been the early life and the story of Ivan Alexxeve. Please let me know if you think he's actually alive or not. I'm excited to see the new season and see what happens.